Hi folks, I'm Dan and welcome to the Outpost Dispatch, which is your chance to procrastinate while staying up to date with everything tabletop. This week, we've got a few cool bits to talk to you about. We're going to talk about Star Wars Shatterpoint and the recent announcements from Atomic Mass Games regarding that game. We're going to talk about Mantic because there's some crazy goings on, new releases, new announcements coming out of Mantic at the moment, a little bit of catch up about where we're up to with the shop, and then we'll wrap it all up. So the first thing we were going to talk about, diving straight into the meatiness of it, Star Wars Shatterpoint, one of my favourite games, and many of the staff play as well, and Tam's a massive sort of advocate of Shatterpoint. It's really, really cool because it's a fantastic skirmish game. The models are a nice size, they're nice to paint because they're slightly larger scale, and yeah, the game from release has been phenomenal. So when Atomic Mass Games did an announcement last week and sort of said, it's transitioning into a specialist game. Now, nobody really knew what that meant. So X-Wing and Armada players will have their own feelings about Atomic Mass Games from when they were handed the rights to those games, and the games were sort of wrapped up, wound up, and sort of discontinued, for want of a better phrase. Shatterpoint players were a bit like, well, is that what's going on here? Because the announcement mentioned that, you know, it was resources were being diverted away from that towards Legion and Marvel Crisis Protocol, which are the two flagship Atomic Mass games. So we were left in a bit of a lurch, really, not knowing really what to think or where it was going. The timings of the announcement were really odd as well. Like, we're just about a few weeks away from Adepticon, and we were sort of left a bit not knowing what's going on. And then another announcement came out a day or so later that was said, no, you misunderstood. Shatterpoint is absolutely here to stay. We're just going to be slowing down the rate of releases. You'll still get yearly balances. You'll still get updates. You'll still get new things. You're still going to get organised play support, you know, local level, so like GTs like the one we'll be hosting in May. There'll still be like regionals, world championships, etc., etc. So we were like, okay, cool, not too bad then. But it was a really sort of mixed messages, sort of unclear messaging from Atomic Mass. So I'm glad to see that Shatterpoint is here to stay. It's a phenomenal game. We have a fantastic community for it here at the Outpost. And if you do want to play some Star Wars Shatterpoint, please feel free to head down and join in with our community, because we'll be still running with this game as long as it's going, and probably longer, because it's a really, really well put together game. With the Shatterpointness out of the way, I wanted to talk about Mantic. So Mantic are one of the smaller games designers, one of the UK-based ones. Stuff like Kings of War and things like that. And they released Halo Flashpoint last year. Released really well. Halo's a great IP. It's been going from strength to strength. And they've just announced 2 new pre-orders. So they've announced the Noble Team and Fireteam Wolf have gone on pre-order as well. And they're also looking at scaling up the game so you can play a larger game with multiple teams on a map that's twice the size. So I believe that will make it a 6x3. So that's really, really cool. So loads of new bits coming out for Halo, which is something we're hoping to push a little bit more in the store. So if you like Halo, we've got stuff in stock. Come down and check it out. And then staying with Mantic, I saw an announcement the other day that they are announcing, or they have announced, a Ghost in the Shell tabletop RPG. Ghost in the Shell is a manga, so Japanese comic for those that don't know. Really, really popular IP. It's very well regarded. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's a TTRPG. I'll have a little bit of look and see what's going on with that. And I found out that one of the people involved in the development is a chap called Alessio Cavatore. I hope I didn't butcher the name pronunciation. But Alessio was a Games Workshop employee in the early 2000s and worked on games such as Warhammer 40k, 5th edition, Lord of the Rings strategy battle game, Mordheim, a very well sort of an RPG-esque GW system, and like 6th, 7th and 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy, which a lot of people widely regard as like the pinnacle of Warhammer Fantasy. So having a name like Alessio Cavatore involved in the TTRPG for Ghost in the Shell was like, this is going to be really cool. So I'm eager to see where that goes, and I think that'll be a really, really interesting concept, and to see how they execute it will be wicked. I don't know if it's directly Alessio that's involved. I know he has his own company called River Horse, which do a lot of like game dev work that outsource for companies like Warlord and Mantic and stuff. But even just having the sort of team around Alessio involved in that means I think it will probably be a very, very cool RPG. So be sure to do a bit of reading up on that if RPGs or you like Ghost in the Shell, and see what you think to that. And I wanted to briefly touch on a few bits about the store. You may notice that the sofas are in a slightly different alignment today, and that's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, we've jigged our bar area around, so we've moved the painting station close to where the wall is, where the sofas were. If you're local to the store, you'll know what I mean. Just to make it a little bit more spacey, you've got more light over the painting station, and it's also allowed me to bring another sofa into here because I'm hoping to have more guests on the dispatch moving forward, whether that be staff, community members, TOs, people to talk about games, hopefully maybe some studio people at one point, maybe get some of like the local studios like Warlord, maybe get someone down to talk to about their games, and hopefully really try and make the dispatch a bit bigger and a lot more interesting for you folks to talk about wider subjects or more deeply about certain subjects, which would be really cool for me and also hopefully really cool for you guys. We've also just added a couple of new 6x4s in our gaming area, which really takes us to capacity in the gaming hall. We really can't fit any more tables in there without making it uncomfortable for you folks, and we don't want to do that. But we are now in the stages of planning an expansion of the gaming space and where we go in that direction. And realistically, we couldn't have done that without the monumental sort of support that you folks have shown us over the past year and a bit since we moved to Walker Street. And I can't explain enough how grateful I am and the team are for all the support, the encouragement, and just the passion that you folks have for us and our venue. It really means the world to us. So from the bottom of my heart and everyone else's, thank you so much for all your patronage and your support. Please continue to do so. Support, come down, use the free space, enjoy it, and let us know what you want to see, what things we can do to make your experience even better. And hopefully we'll get there, we'll tick some more boxes off and we'll have a wicked 2026 because we've only just started. That's pretty much everything I've got for you this week. So as usual, stay tuned to Discord, social media, the newsletter and the website for upcoming information, outpoints, reminders, all the useful bits and bobs. And we will hopefully see you in store soon. But remember, your hobby lives at the Outpost. See you next week.